Why do I feel like crying when I think about the birth of my child or talk about the birth of my child? So a lot of times this comes up. It's not a direct question. It's when I'm talking to moms on the phone or particularly in person when they come in maybe for a face-to-face consultation or that first session. And oftentimes moms are calling me not because of this, okay? They didn't even know that someone like myself can help with something like this. But I hear this from moms, and they tell me, or as they're recalling their birth story, I want to know about things related to their birth story, and I ask them about that. So they may be calling me for things like low back pain, my SI joint hurts, it's out, it keeps going out, maybe issues with like prolapse, I'm feeling some heaviness, I feel like I can't push my stroller, diastasis. So some of those are very typical things that moms call me about, but as I ask them about, hey, just tell me a little bit about the birth of your child, some moms start to cry, okay? And then they get a little embarrassed because they feel like they shouldn't get emotional. And the first thing I do is give them permission to feel into whatever that emotion is, because it's important. It's important that they've been stuffing it down, ignoring it, and not giving it the time and space to come up and fully feel it, okay? So what they have experienced is what we call birth trauma, okay? So some moms know immediately that they've had birth trauma, and they can recall that yes, this was a very overwhelming event, a lot of things happen. However, not all moms recognize that they've had birth trauma, okay? It might be on a smaller scale, okay? Birth trauma is trauma. But they may not recognize it. And so when we start talking about just recalling the details of the birth story, moms will get emotional and they'll have to stop and kind of gather themselves. And I'm just, holding space for them to be able to process their feelings. And then I know a big clue right then on what's causing some of those more traditional like issues that moms reach out to me about, pain, and diastasis and prolapse and things like that. But really what the underlying root cause is birth trauma. So what is birth trauma? Well, it's really where the mother lost connection somewhere in the birth flow, okay? There were blips in the birth flow, okay? So it might have been something medically was happening with mom, okay? Heart rate, things like that, or even baby. It might be an emergency C-section that had to happen. It could be that mom, whether it was a perceived or a real threat, something was going on. A lot of people in the room, something was super overwhelming. Long labors, okay? Not really having the support that mom needed, okay? Dads can also hold this birth trauma as well, just from holding space for his family, okay? So I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. I don't want to give you too much information to make it overwhelming, but how do you know if you've had birth trauma? Well, one is just sit down and recall the details of your birth and see if there's any areas as you recall from the first contraction to when your baby was born. Are there any kind of blips in there? Any areas that are, or any parts of the story that are missing that you feel like, where was I? Or what happened during that? And you can do this whether you're a brand new mom or whether you had your babies a long time ago, okay? So as you do that and you start to recall details, notice how you're feeling, okay? Notice if you can feel are there any emotions that come up? Some moms, like I said, right away know that they've had a traumatic birth because they're not able to talk about it with others without getting emotional, regardless of how long ago it was, okay? There's areas that they feel maybe resentful towards people that were there to support them. There were areas that they just felt like it didn't go the way that they had planned, and they felt like they could have done something different about it. Now, I'm not talking about not necessarily things that are out of mom's control, but again, that is something that can get stuck with birth trauma, okay? I know that there's a lot of moms that don't know that birth trauma exists and that they're carrying it around and that it's affecting them on a daily basis, causing them anxiety, causing them emotions, causing them fatigue, pain, okay? And so I'm going to be talking to moms and explaining this more. Just let me know, leave me a comment below, let me know that you want this information, because I'm going to be sharing, you know, what birth trauma is, how you know that you have it, what can be done about it, okay? Because I don't want you to be suffering in silence and alone, okay? Thank you as always for watching. Leave me any questions below and I will get back to you. Thank you so much.